This video was recorded late at night, and what is shown has left the parents deeply unsettled. A baby monitor placed inside their infant's crib captured something that has been the source of their growing concern. After viewing the footage, their fears have only intensified. To make matters worse, shortly after this incident, their older child, just a year older, displayed some strange behavior that was caught on camera by a relative who was babysitting.
Shay. Cheyenne. Cheyenne.
What's particularly troubling is that the parents had witnessed similar unsettling occurrences in their previous home. This new footage was actually captured in the same house, where they first noticed disturbing behavior in their children, which evidently drove them to relocate. In the old house, their kids would often fixate on seemingly empty spaces, sometimes bursting into tears as they stared at nothing visible. The parents were baffled and concerned, but it wasn't until they saw the footage from the baby monitor that they began to understand what might have been happening. One specific video captured on the monitor stood out, and it confirmed the parents' worst fears. A dark, shadowy figure can be seen moving near the crib, gliding past it and then ascending towards the ceiling. Clearly not a person. Convinced that this entity was the cause of their children's distress, the parents decided to leave the house. However, they now fear that whatever it was might have followed them to their new home. The family is sharing these videos of the paranormal events from their old house in hopes that someone might be able to shed light on what they've been experiencing. They remain anxious, not knowing what to do, and if this ominous presence might indeed have evil intentions. Is a very old clip that was recorded by a man on his way home one night. He described that he saw some transparent figures appear on the road, which made him stop the car and watch what was going on. He said that these things seemed to have a red glowing head and that it made him quite a bit uneasy. Unfortunately, even remastering this didn't uncover much more detail, but I find it's pretty interesting. What do you think was captured here? On a trip to an old castle, namely the Hearst Castle in Hampshire, Tony Ferguson caught a really creepy looking thing peeking out of one of the windows. He states, "While we were there, I really felt like something was following me from room to room, but your mind can play tricks on you, so I tried to ignore it. But when I watched the video back, I was shocked. It's quite a scary looking figure. I didn't see the figure until I watched the footage back. Now, what could he come up with?" It clearly looks like an apparition is stepping forward into the window, and we can almost make out an eye. Was it maybe a former prisoner's spirit? If it wasn't an apparition, what else could it have been? It certainly was no employee. Let me know what you guys think. Tony is sure that he even could capture another apparition, moments after asking the spirit world to please manifest in the window if anything is there with him. So, what do we think about that one? Just another confirmation for paranormal energy. following is an investigation that Dawn has conducted with her son, she tells me. I took a trip to visit my son in Washington State. We planned a trip to Manresa Castle, a beautiful historic hotel. When we first got into our room, the chandelier was swaying slightly, even though all the windows were closed. My son rented a room that was right below the attic room that, according to the stories we've heard, was where a monk himself back in the 1920s. I didn't see it at the time, but days later I was reviewing my footage after I got home and couldn't believe my eyes what we caught in the mirror.
Thank you so much! I saw you! I saw you! I saw you! Oh no, I went back. It went up a little bit.
No, you're doing like a whipping sound. Like, yeah, when it beeped, it did it. Is this the monk or is this the fiance that has the broken heart?
This is a quite significant recording, as it would appear that a shadow apparition is responding intelligently to Dawn's and Israel's questions and acknowledges that they could hear it via their spirit box. I find the movement of this shadow is quite similar to the recordings of the Lamb House, which is why I believe this video to be real. Could it be the monk, or perhaps another restless spirit that was communicating with the two? Certainly quite intriguing, I find. What do you think?
I saw you. I saw you. Oh no, I went back. It went up.
A short and older family recording, which turned out to be really unsettling. A mom was recording her two little kids playing when something else was captured on video. It appears that the ghost of a woman is visible in their kid's bedroom, and the woman states that the spirit looks pretty similar to her mother-in-law that had just passed away at the time, and that they were sure that this was her visiting. This case was shared by Brandy Guthrie, who states that she woke up around 5:30 in the morning to some extremely eerie whispering. She was alone at home and had no idea what could have caused this scary sound. This is when she started recording. Something with her that night. In this update, she states that she was babysitting the dog of a friend, and the dog was playing with her own dog at the time, when all of a sudden, the playful mood changed. Brandy believes that something otherworldly gained access to her trailer, which also would be proof for a mysterious handprint that appeared on her fridge.
And I found this hand, or whatever you call this, on my icebox. Now look at my left hand compared to this thing right here. Look at that. It's not me. I don't have any kids. Just a dog, as you can see right here. Just a dog, and that's surely not his. So what the?
I think this could just be a dog's paw print, but some of her viewers believe it could belong to a Wendigo. So what exactly could we be dealing with here? Is her new trailer really haunted? This video was recorded by a CCTV camera of an older apartment building. It is mounted to the ceiling of the 13th floor, and many tenants have stated that they have heard quite a lot of eerie noises at night on there. Items have been moved around, and one tenant in particular swears that he saw a little kid running across the dimly lit hallway around midnight, only to disappear into the closed door to the staircase. Strange to say the least. In this particular clip, we can apparently become witness to some of these mysterious events. Take a good look. After a few minutes of inexplicable activity, we can see a pair of flags appear, seemingly walking slowly towards the camera. This apparently freaked the superintendent out quite a bit, and who can blame him? And only a few minutes later, this happened. It was clear that the building was dealing with something really creepy here. What exactly it was? Impossible to say, of course. Seems like the tenants of this building will have to keep those doors locked overnight, for sure though. Of course, we know that there's a lot of accidents occurring on our roads on the daily. These accidents, which very likely turn those places into areas of negative energy, claim the lives of dozens of people week after week. The following footage was taken on a toll road and recorded on a dash camera. Apparently, the driver caught something quite terrifying on his nightly drive. On the right side of the screen, we can see a translucent figure standing right on the shoulder of that road. The uploader of the recording mentioned that they did notice that person, but that their appearance looked pretty off. A grey skin tone and unnatural stance. And they joked that it might have been a ghost at the time. Upon reviewing the footage, they noticed that even the rear camera had picked that figure up. And it was just standing there. Many people agree that it does not look like an ordinary person. Rather, it appears to be of paranormal nature. But what do you think? Do you believe it's just a regular person? Or perhaps the spirit of someone who lost their life on this road? Or what other explanation could there be? The following is a recording that was shared by a man who started documenting some really unusual activity in his new house. He had just moved in recently. and ever since had trouble sleeping at night. Seeing shadows and weird apparitions was nothing new for him. That's why he started recording these incidents now. The tone of his voice clearly indicates that he was freaked out a little bit.
What the
Besides this item being moved up there, however, there was something even more terrifying. A shadow apparition that was standing in one of the other rooms, and he didn't see it. That makes this even more creepy. Was it maybe the reason for all this ghostly activity? Or was it just visiting him that night? Certainly really terrifying if you think about it. If the man moved houses after this is unknown.
This capture was shared by Pasillo and was forwarded to him by a viewer. They told him that they took a snapshot that night of the uploader's wife and their grandmother, who passed away shortly after taking it. Eventually, they went through the pictures, and the fact that this was one of the very last pictures of their grandma made it just so much more eerie. They saw somebody else in the back that wasn't there at the time and that nobody could recognize. It looks like a sinister, laughing apparition. If it was related to Grandma's passing, is not very likely. But it still begs the question, why exactly this thing was captured on tape though? How strange.
The following incident was a terrifying encounter that a young woman had shared on her profile, Los Polioneros TV. The mother states that her young baby son seems to be talking more and more about his imaginary little friend that likes to visit him in his room, and the boy is talking a lot to him apparently. The mother started recording these encounters to share with the family. Such was the case today. She started filming once her little son told her about his friend and that he was with them this day.
Vente, estamos solos. Ay, Dios mío.
Seemingly uneasy, the young mother is turning around and she captures a shadow image of what looks to be a little kid standing in the dark kitchen staring at her. And it did scare her so bad that it took her a few days until she decided to share this encounter on her profile. She believes that this imaginary friend to be not that imaginary after all now. Let's hope that this doesn't get out of hand.
The next clip was recorded by a driver one night who was on his way home and was taking a local highway. He didn't notice anything out of the ordinary up until this point, but when the incident occurred, he saw a dark flickering object just standing in the middle of the road. An object that had human-like features based on his reports, and it becomes quite apparent that even the other drivers saw it too. It is not that easy to make out, but you can actually see the outlines of a shadow person that just appears on the road, and the cars are doing their best to avoid impact, making them swivel quite a bit, especially the car on the left. What's weird is that the cars in front don't seem to react all that much. Maybe that's because this thing appears right after the cars in the front have passed it. The driver says that he did not see anything up until he was about to hit this thing, making him believe that it could have been an actual spirit that manifested. Could this be so? How else could anybody end up on the middle of the road like that? Strange. This was captured by a worker during a nightly shift. He was just moving some heavy machinery to a new construction site. He was by himself at the time and didn't see anything strange, but based on his reports, he heard a weird scream from the neighboring fields, which caused him to pull up the recording after his shift had ended, and he saw something quite unique. Some of his co-workers think that he might have captured a floating torso of a spirit, or maybe another form of creature. He was pretty baffled and had no explanation of what we are seeing here, especially since it just shows up for a few moments before it vanishes. Super weird. What do you think could have been captured here? How creepy. The following video was captured by a young driver who was on the way home. It was early in the evening and nothing seemed out of place at the time. He takes this road a lot and, based on his reports, there had never been any strange incidents taking place. Eventually he started speeding, and in his opinion, a guardian angel might have stepped in at this point in time. We see a person appearing in the middle of the road. Pretty scary, of course. The man notices him too late and tries to brake, and based on his reports, the car drove straight through him though, and no damage was done to the car, making him believe that this had to be a ghost. There was no trace of this person after the car came to a stop, and he stepped out to see if the mysterious person was okay. I mean, it's a bit weird how the car darkens up though, as if an impact actually had occurred. Pretty strange, isn't it? What do you think unfolded here exactly? Speaking of truly unsettling captures, the following was posted by a Caminus, and in his opinion, it was the best capture he ever took in his life. It was captured in an abandoned house in Papudo, Chile, which is situated next to a friend's cabin on the beach. The house that appears outside of the window is part of the shed of the abandoned place. A cameraman took a series of pictures, each of them showing another room of the house. On one of them, this thing came up. Was terrified and absolutely sure that no soul was outside in front of the window. So, is this just pareidoia? Or is it the face of a spirit that might have peeked at him through the window? Let me hear what you guys think. It's a pretty terrifying capture. Now we will be looking at a clip uploaded by LeBronWho422 from the United States. He writes, "Me and my friends were hanging out in my basement for the last night before moving. Kyle thought he found a mouse in the back room. After watching all our videos at the new house, this is what we came across." Well, let's see what the uploader captured in this basement.
Oh, so what are you doing?
Dude, come on, man. I just lost like 50 bucks in cards.
You can get over it.
I know. I'm just have to.
What are you doing over there?
I think I found a mouse in here somewhere. Are you serious?
Dude.
It's done. In other words, I can't find it.
Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on.
Dude, I'm not standing
Turn
with
the
a
lights
mouse. Turn the lights on. I'm not standing with a
do
mouse.
it. I'll do
I
it.
can't see anything.
There's no mouse in here.
The video starts off normally, just a couple of friends hanging out and eating in the basement. However, things very quickly take a turn when LeBron pans to his friend in another section of the home. The friend Kyle believes that he spotted a mouse in the dark corner of the basement, but it seems as though he may have captured something even creepier. When Kyle bends down, a large face can be seen behind him. This creature seems to linger in the doorframe until they finally turn on the lights. No spirits can be seen, and no mouse either. The eerie part of this clip is the way nobody seems to notice the quiet entity until much later when reviewing the footage. Is there a reasonable explanation for this video? Or is this definitely a shadow figure sighting, as the men believe? What is your opinion on this? The next unsettling video is brought to us by Chris, also known as Urbex Hill. In this clip, Chris returns to the deserted Robert Fulton Elementary School in Cleveland. This school, built in 1920, is located in one of the most dangerous areas of Cleveland and has stood abandoned for more than 15 years. While exploring the crumbling structure, Chris is suddenly startled by an unexpected noise.
Fallout shelter. these desks behind. Somebody's down here.
Feeling uneasy, he quickly heads upstairs, but then hears what sounds like voices coming from somewhere ahead.
I hear somebody talking. Somebody's down there.
Here's one more thing I need to point out. Right as that person with the flashlight turned around, I could see a gun in their hand. This startled me, so I started running away. There's no telling what these people could be using this building for. They could just be squatters or even scrappers. They could even be criminals hiding from the police. I don't know. But one thing I know for sure, they didn't want me there, because they started shooting a gun as I ran away.
As he cautiously approaches, he catches sight of someone holding a flashlight, and without hesitation, Chris does what anyone would do in this situation. He turns and bolts. As he races to safety, the situation takes a terrifying turn when the sounds of gunshots ring behind him. Fortunately, Chris manages to escape unharmed, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats, wondering what might have happened if he hadn't escaped so quickly. The tense moments left many asking themselves if they would have had the nerve to explore such a place on their own. Would you dare to venture into a place like this? The next clip was uploaded to YouTube by paranormal investigator Darklife from Russia, who visits old, abandoned or haunted locations on his channel. In his latest episode, he's visiting an area he calls the Village of the Dead and is investigating an old derelict cabin. The cabin appears to have been abandoned for some time now, as all the furniture seems to be gone and only traces that anyone ever lived there remain. To start the investigation, Dark takes a walk around the outside and the inside of the perimeter of the location, and then moves inside to set up his paranormal equipment on both floors of the house. It isn't long until mysterious events start happening around the house. It seems the upstairs of this cabin is a hotspot for paranormal activity.
Who are you?
Sometime later, Dark captures this terrifying moment from the upstairs hallway. The shadowy entity appears and moves suddenly towards the bedroom door. Could this possibly be the spirit of someone who once lived in this house? Nearing the end of the night, Dark heads upstairs a final time and gets a little bit more than he bargained for.
I think it's just the wind.
Dark claims to have been completely alone, and we can clearly see that he wasn't moving when this was recorded. What do you guys think of this capture? What a creepy investigation. If you can, please visit Dark's channel. This was shared by Wade Lanigan, who's basically just hanging out with his son in the living room here. He has captured several strange incidents in the past and is recording video surveillance on the regular. Today he also suspects that he caught one of the several spirits that is said to haunt this home. The figure of a shadow man with a large top hat can be seen as he is walking across the living room and reflecting in the mirror, which is quite a surprise to everybody. If it is residing in his home or if it's a haunting that is bound to his family is unknown. Many people believe that there's way more behind this than Wade is sharing with us, but who can say?